Let's do some familiar male nails. Now these don't look too bad, but keep watching, you'll see how crusty they actually are. They also got pretty long. He said the last time he cut them was about a week and a half ago, so I shortened them, removed any excess cuticle, and then I started to exfoliate. As you can see, he has very dry and cracked skin around the nails, which I removed as much as I could. You definitely want to be careful when doing this because too much filing can thin out the skin and make it very sensitive. I cleansed his nails and last but not least applied cuticle oil, which is his favorite part. Men definitely love getting pampered and don't let them tell you otherwise. For those of you who bite your nails, you're not alone. This client came to me with extremely brittle and eaten up nails. She bites them due to anxiety, but she said it got really bad about a month ago during New York City Fashion Week. Little story time that she allowed me to share. She's a recent college graduate trying to break into the world of PR. A few months ago, before graduating, she secured an unpaid internship with a very well-known influencer. She did everything for her, including being available 24/7. Everything was going smooth until Fashion Week. She got overwhelmed going from show to show carrying many bags along with heavy garments. As they were leaving the last show, the influencer asked her to reorganize and throw out a damaged SIM card she didn't need. Without realizing, my client threw out the one with all the Fashion Week footage on it that was going to be used for content. She rifled through many New York City garbage cans, but it was gone. She got fired on the spot, and since that moment she's been biting her nails, scared that she'd never find a job again, especially in New York City. Nails are back, more crusty than ever. Today is the day. We are painting his nails again and I couldn't be more excited. First I had to do some cleaning up. Even his actual skin around his nails was dirty, so I had some work to do. I cleaned up the cuticle area, removed all the excess dead skin, and tried to clean off as much of the dirt as I could. After I finished cleaning, I showed him the new comic nail trend and he was convinced. He chose the colors, guys. He chose them, the fall combo. That was all him. I know it's time for winter and holiday sets, but he just wasn't ready for that. We went from darkest to lightest, starting from the thumb. I outlined around all of the nails with black, which by the way is a lot harder to do on short nails. And then I tried doing the shading on the left and the white line on the right. Did not do the shading on the black, so we used a gray. Definitely have to work on the shading situation. He really liked them. What do we think?
This nail trend has been popping off in Korea. Watercolor and ink-inspired sets have been popular amongst many nail artists. These are air-dry polishes that resemble hand-painted watercolor. They grant a lot of creative freedom, allowing artists to use them as a base for character art or to do very abstract designs. All you have to do is shake well before applying and allow it to air dry, then finish with a top coat. The More Art Liquid collection is a fan favorite. They have amazing color story and color payoff.
Hey everyone, so I got a lot of comments about this because I mentioned I could do a set in an hour and a half. So the first thing is you have to have a clean station, have everything ready, have your tools ready to go. And also you could talk to your client. You don't talk less just because you're working faster, but if you're trying to master this, try and talk a little bit less. The other thing is your prepping should take 10 to 12 minutes. Use a sanding band and a cuticle bit, that's it, and nip those suckers off. Once you put the nail tips, don't blend them. You don't need to blend the nail tips. It's a waste of time. Use the little magnet thingies to cut the sizing and you know they're all even or whatever. Go straight with the acrylic. That should take you 10 to 12 minutes, but if it doesn't take you and it takes you longer, try and master these other steps. Once that's done, you should be able to file in 10 minutes if your shaping and application's good.
Do my nails with me plus a story time. Okay, so some of y'all already know this, but I recently quit my job at the nail salon. And I've been wanting to quit for a while, but this just made me quit then and there. So at my old job, I would do pedicures and I just didn't want to do that anymore. It was this one specific day. I went in, it was super busy. We had two sides of tubs where we did the pedicures, this side and this side. We mainly used this side, but this side was full, so I had to use this side. So I just got done with one of my pedicures over here. I'm cleaning up, getting ready for the next one. My boss was like, oh, Erin, do a pedicure over here because it's so busy and you're like the only one available. I'm like, okay. And the thing is, the hot water on this side like takes forever to heat up. And I can already tell the client, impatient, rude, just... Okay, so as I'm trying to like get the water warmer and stuff, he just dunks his feet in and I'm like, he better be lucky because that same day I had just came from church. It took everything in me not to be like, did I tell you to put your feet in this water? Like what? Then he had the audacity to be like, this water is not hot enough for me. I was like, oh, well, I'm still warming it up and I didn't tell you to put your feet in. So fast forward, we moved to a whole different chair. I get the hot water ready. He puts his feet in finally. I'm like, hot enough for you, baby? Is it hot enough? He talking about yes. I'm like, okay. So we're midway into the pedicure, and he's like, do you go to school here? I said, yeah. Then he was like, oh, let me guess. You go to Paladero. So I was like, oh, yeah. I go there by choice, but I could go anywhere I want in this district. So fast forward to when he started talking about his little granddaughter. Like, oh yeah, my granddaughter, she used to race against Paladero girls. She was quick as the wind, and she would beat all the blacks. I was like, what? Then he gonna repeat himself. I'm like, get out my chair. Like, right now. You gotta go. I just finished the pedicure. I put my AirPod in. I'm tuning him out. I'm just hurrying up. Give him his ticket. Clean up. Then I told my boss, I cannot do this no more. Like, I'm not about to sit up here and deal with this. It's not just him. It's like other people too. You can tell, like, all the racial slurs and comments. I'm not putting up with it. And that was just that. So, but of course he didn't leave me a tip. And I don't care. Alright, so don't mind my air fryer. But this is how the nails came out. Period. Here's the other hand.
Here's part 2 on how to get faster as a nail tech. One of the biggest things I think that people do is pre-shape. If you're already cutting the coffin shape or the almond shape, do not pre-shape. You're going to put acrylic on top and you're going to have to shape anyway, so why are you doing double the work? Have everything close by, uniform your drawers to know where everything is so you don't have to be looking through them while you're working. That wastes time. Other thing, have your client have a design in mind. Don't let them come to your appointment and not know what the heck they want. Have breakfast and food in your system. This is going to give you the most energy. Forget coffee, forget Red Bull, forget all of that. You need food in your system to work quick. Another thing that has helped me is having the colors already out on a palette from my first client for the rest of the day, so I don't have to pour out nail polish again on my art palette. Time yourself. Let yourself know when you're supposed to be shaping, putting the tips, etc.
This client did her full body wax and nails with me. Oh, she was very motivating. She asked me, why are you not posting all your work? She created to Canva logos with my business name and shared my stories on her Insta. We had iced coffee and we shared our spiritual beliefs. She told me about how she fought with her depression and anxiety when she was alone in Canada. Well, we all need to lay our burdens down and we should start living in the present. Pray for peace of mind, calm and positivity. Prayer can reduce feelings of isolation, anxiety, and fear. Alright, let's talk about nails. So this cute set gonna look perfect with her black dress for her convocation.
Story time of how I got back into reading. So I always loved reading as a kid, but I somehow dropped it in my teenage years. Don't really know. I think my priorities were set otherwise, like going out and partying, whatever. Yeah, and then I was in my early 20s and I thought, hey, it's kind of sad. You loved reading so much. Why did you drop it? So I was wondering what it was. And at first I was like, yeah, I would love to read, but I just don't have the time for it. And then when I really questioned what I was doing with my time, I found out that I was mostly scrolling on social media. And then I was like, okay, I want to go back into reading, and I bought a few books, but they were all like not really for me.
This is how I found out my dad was following me on OnlyFans. Disclaimer is not my story time, I was letting me on Instagram. So this one guy started sending me $1,000 every single week. In exchange, I would send him private photos. Everything was totally fine until he started asking me questions. He would ask me things like, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite dessert? Because it's OnlyFans, I never really answered honestly. But then one day he told me, you love The Little Mermaid, don't you? And I was like, what? Because The Little Mermaid was my favorite movie as a kid. Watched it at least 3 times a week when I was a kid. First I thought it was a cousin playing a joke on me, so I decided to block them. The next day, I get another message. This one says, I remember how you used to love hot dogs. That's when I really shit myself, because my dad and I would make hot dogs every single Friday. It was our thing together. Like I said, he was a deadbeat, so he couldn't afford anything more than cheap hot dogs. And that's when he said, I have a confession. And before I could reply, he said, I'm your dad. I felt so disgusted. I blocked him and then blocked him from my cell phone too. That's when he sends me a long text message explaining why he signed up to my OnlyFans. He said that he was just trying to get to know me, that all he really wanted was to get me back as his daughter. Then why ask for nudes?
It's that dreaded time to refill my right hand with my non-dominant hand. I remove the old gel and file the remainder with a hand file, leaving about 10% of the previous base. I shape them into a sharp almond without cutting the length, and I start my cuticle prep. I usually use an e-file for this, but you can use a flathead pusher to remove the dead cuticle as well. Using a scissor to remove any excess dead skin, then I just cleanse them with rubbing alcohol and a micro brush. I use this pretty nude rubber base, applying a slip layer and then a self-leveling bead aligning the nail to the free edge. I then apply top coat and cure for 3 minutes because we are doing the Hailey Bieber chrome nails. I wanted something that wasn't too plain but also easy to do. These hearts add a Valentine's Day touch, and I won't be taking these out for a whole month, so I have to be in theme. And these are how they came out. The internet believes my natural nails are fake. Let me prove to you that they're not. Those square nails were my nails a year and a half ago, and these are my nails today. Same length, different shape. As many of you know, I use a rubber base on them for strength and have been refilling them every 4 weeks. Today, I'm removing everything, most likely taking off layers of base that probably date back a few months ago. I usually never remove the base fully because that's what allows them to stay strong and grow the way they do. So I removed the bulk with a soft carbide bit, and now I'm using acetone to get my nails fully naked. One thing about me is that I hate acetone. All the years of being a nail tech, I avoid it like the plague. Because I focus on natural nail growth, that's what I do, and acetone isn't needed for gel overlays. But I had to prove the internet wrong, so here I am removing my nail support system. Would fake nails have these natural curves and bends? Who knows, maybe I'll even cut them all off and show you how to grow them from scratch. I never force my clients to get nail art so that I could charge more. For context, I got a lot of comments on my last video saying I forced nail art to upcharge. But all I said was I ease them into it. I support the rebellious sides, okay? Sometimes it's hard for people to get out of their comfort zone, and us nail techs are here to guide, we don't push. Anyways, for this client, other than falling asleep at every appointment, also does not budge on designs. She is very strict and does what she likes. It's either solid or a very light nude, maybe sometimes a French. This time actually, she stepped out of her comfort zone and did a cat eye French, but again, that's very rare. No pushing involved, I'm just a vessel. These are how they came out, basic, cute, and exactly what she wanted. I charged her $75 for these. This lovely client is back much sooner than expected. The last time she came to me was back in April because she only comes for special occasions. She brought me her little bag with all her supplies because she actually does her own nails at home with regular polish. She finds it relieves anxiety and it's therapeutic for her. She also thought I gave away all my regular polish to her last time in the little goodie bag I gave her, so she brought it back, which was so cute. So I asked her what the special occasion was because last time we had a whole year in between appointments. She said she was going on vacation, her first vacation since her husband passed, and that was 7 years ago. Her hands shake due to the arthritis, so she can't clean up her cuticles without cutting herself and wanted them to look perfect for her trip. I noticed her hands were drier than usual, so I gave her cuticle oil, one that she can even take with her. You could tell she's fascinated. How did I get this client's nails from looking like this to this? Technically, it's just a gel overlay, but if you watch my videos, you know that I do Russian manicures, which involve a more detailed process. I usually associate Russian manicures with healthy, natural nails because that's the goal of this service. It involves prepping, cleaning, and removing the cuticle and surrounding skin with tools that go through a 3-phase disinfection and sterilization process. Maintaining the integrity of the natural nail also means fixing cracks along the way. A gel that builds structure and an apex is applied to give the nails their strength, and the gel polish is painted close to the cuticle with a thin brush to help them look fresh even after a week of wear. Even solid colored manicures with this technique look beautiful, clean, and put together. A common question I get asked in my comments is what is the difference between a rubber base and a builder gel? While both gels are thick in consistency and are used to strengthen the natural nails, they're completely different. The way I'm testing this is by applying a glob of both products onto a palette similar to the amount you'd apply on an actual nail and curing them. As you can see, the rubber base is very flexible. It has enhanced elasticity due to the extra plasticizers added to it, which allows this base to bend with the natural nail, especially when the nail goes through some kind of trauma. This is unlike a builder gel, which is a thicker consistency gel, great for strengthening long nails. However, it cures hard rather than flexible, and the likelihood of the nails chipping or cracking is higher when encountering trauma.